Hey guys, what's going on? James here, and in this video today, I wanted to talk about a guy who's been playing pretty well for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers the past couple of weeks, and it's in the secondary. It's Zyon McCollum. Zyon McCollum, 6'2", 199 pounds, only 24 years old, has been having to play a lot because Jamel Dean has been hurt a good bit this year, right? And I feel like this past game versus the Atlanta Falcons was a real big coming out party for Zyon McCollum. Finished with 9 total tackles, a forced fumble, 2 passes defended, a BS pass interference call. I couldn't think of the word for a second, but point being is that Zyon McCollum had a really decent game, in my opinion, versus the Atlanta Falcons. So it begs the question, should we see more of Zyon McCollum moving forward? I just made a whole video talking about Devin White being hurt and KJ Britt possibly getting more opportunities moving forward. Could we see more of that with Zyon McCollum in the case of Jamel Dean? I don't know. It's possible. And I wouldn't even say, Jamel Dean has not been playing good this year. He hasn't. Carlton Davis has been playing a little bit better lately. But Zyon McCollum's been kind of stepping up, been quietly having a decent season, right? When targeted, he's allowing a 54.4 completion percentage and a rating of 82.1. That's not too bad whenever you look at the entirety of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this year, and we'll dive into that in a moment. He's played 66% of defensive snaps this year, 55% of special team snaps. He's kind of a dog. He's been doing a lot of 4.33 speed. What? Crazy, right? Crazy. McCollum's been playing a lot more than I think people have expected. And he's been doing, in my opinion, better than what people have probably been expecting, myself included. To start the year, and even in preseason and whatnot, I thought McCollum was not playing very good. But quietly, he's been getting better. And it's certainly noticeable. I think it was very noticeable in this past game versus the Atlanta Falcons. It was noticeable. And if I can find some of the advanced stats, I do want to go over it comparatively, going over some of the other guys that have been there, present in this Buccaneers secondary, guys who, have been getting targeted just as much. Here we go. In terms of targets, Zyon McCollum's the third most targeted guy on the team. Third most. And he is allowing a completion percentage that is lower than most of these guys. Carlton Davis, Zyon McCollum beats him when targeted. Antoine Winfield Jr., he's right tied with Antoine Winfield Jr. Jamel Dean smokes him. So it's interesting, right? Yards per target is down. You're not beating McCollum deep in a lot of situations. Rating, look at this. Jamel Dean's allowing a rating of 118.7. Carlton Davis is allowing a rating of 94.7. Zyon McCollum's allowing a rating of 82.1, and you can't tell me it's because of lack of snaps or lack of targets. He only has 10 less targets than Davis, and he's targeted 15 times more than Dean. It's notable, man. McCollum's quietly put together a pretty good season for the Bucs so far this year. Air yards, total air yards on completion. Carlton Davis and Jamel Dean are targeted deeper. Right? Average depth. So you are seeing a little bit there. You are seeing guys getting targeted down the field, but it's not working on McCollum. That's the thing. They're not getting a lot of receiving yards per target. Yards after the catch, Carlton Davis is worse. Jamel Dean is just barely better by 20 or so yards. But point being is that, I don't know, man. McCollum's been putting together a pretty decent year. And I think it's worth talking about. And I know some of these things I've been bringing up the past couple of videos seem like they're taboo or whatever, right? Benching a guy who's making as much money as Jamel Dean is making. Benching a guy that's making as much money and as high octane as Devin White is. But if guys are subbing in and showing out, that's notable. It was the secondary lost in some situations versus the Atlanta Falcons. Yeah, Desmond Ridder threw for a crap ton of yards, but when McCollum's out there getting a forced fumble, 2 passes defended, yes, 9 total tackles, but overall he's still still making some splash plays. Like, that's notable, man. That's notable. I'm going to point it out, and I'm going to say, like, hey, that's not bad. If a guy's going out there and making plays, I mean, it's worth talking about. It is. It really is to me. Look at the game logs. I mean, McCollum's had to start the past 3 games. 2 of those were wins for the Bucs, one of which they should have won versus the Indianapolis Colts. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's something that I think should be talked about. Let's even go to the advanced game logs, right? We don't have the stats of the Atlanta Falcons yet, but allowed a 45.5 completion percentage versus the Colts. Allowed only 61 receiving yards versus the Panthers. We don't know the stats when targeted by the Atlanta Falcons. Maybe it's not good. Maybe it is good. I don't know. Maybe we'll have to find that out later. Maybe I'll have to make an addendum, an update to this. But like, you look at this man, McCollum's only been burned, 1 game, and that was the Houston Texans, and he got cooked, right? He got cooked. Look at all these other game logs. He only allowed 61 yards, 53 yards on 11 targets, my man. 53 yards on 11 targets, that's crazy. 49 yards on 6 targets, 39 on 2. It's not great, but you're still only giving up 1 catch. 28 yards on 9 targets, 27 yards on 7 targets. McCollum has quietly been putting together a pretty good year that I think's flown under the radar of me. It's flown under the radar of a lot of people whenever you're looking at advanced stats, whenever you're breaking it down like that. It's interesting, man. It's interesting. So I don't know. I mean, like, it's I just wanted to point this out. I wanted to talk about Zyon McCollum because dude's been kind of stepping up a little bit. He's been kind of playing some fire play. I don't know. Is it worth benching Jamel Dean? Is that wrong of me to say? I don't think so. Whenever you're in crunch time, look, Todd Bowles said it himself earlier in the year. If guys aren't going to be playing, then they're going to get rotated out. Then they're going to get benched or replaced or whatever it may be. Everybody knew how good McCollum was in terms of athleticism. It was just a matter of putting it together. And it seems like this year he's starting to put it together. He's got the size. He's got the athleticism that you want. It's a genuine question for me, folks. Should the Tampa Bay Buccaneers maybe look to bench Jamel Dean once he comes back from injury? Because McCollum's been playing pretty decent, in my opinion. So I'd love to get your guys' thoughts and opinions about this down in the comments section below. What do you think about Zyon McCollum? What do you think about him playing well? What do you think about the possibility of him getting benched for Jamel Dean? These are all things I think are legitimate conversations, folks. I'd love to get your guys' thoughts and opinions. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Hope y'all enjoyed. As always, guys, I'll see you all in the next video or the next live stream. But until then, and as always, guys, goodbye for now, and go Bucs.